Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire deal. Well, joining me live now is Australian Strategic Policy Institute Dr. Malcolm Davis. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Malcolm. Now, this is a three-phase deal. Can you talk us through it and I guess why there is also some cautious optimism around this? What are some of the concerns?
Well, look, as you say, it's a three-stage deal. So the first stage is very much a ceasefire in place, a release of initial batch of hostages, and then the second stage moves to trying to create a permanent peace deal that sees the remaining hostages released and Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails returned. And then the final stage would be some sort of security sector reform that allows for a stable security environment to emerge in the long term. The risks, I think, are that one or both sides could violate it. There will always be the risk of incidents along the line of contact between Israeli and Hamas forces. So the potential could be that suddenly firing or shooting starts and the deal falls apart. The other risk is that Hamas does not honour it in good faith in terms of returning the hostages when they're required to do so. And that could then lead to pressure on Netanyahu within the Israeli cabinet to renege on the deal itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's been some of the cautious optimism around for Israelis, this staggered approach of releasing the hostages rather than releasing them all in phase one. But tell us, just how big a role did Donald Trump play in these negotiations and an agreement being reached?
I think it's undeniable he played an important role. To suggest that he played no role, I think, is counter to the reality of the situation. Clearly, the threat that he made very clearly on many occasions that if the hostages were not released by the time he came to power, then all hell would break loose in the Middle East, must have concentrated the minds not only of Hamas and Hezbollah, but also Iran as well, with Iran being essentially the backer of Hamas and Hezbollah. So I think that Trump played a really important role in making this possible because he forced Hamas in particular to recognize that their time was running out. They had to come up with some sort of deal rather than continue to delay and obfuscate any sort of peace agreements that were being negotiated.
Now, if both sides do uphold their part of the deal, do you believe it will bring an end to the war?
I don't think it'll bring peace in the Middle East. I think it could bring a long-term end to this current war. But the challenge that Israel faces is that groups like Hamas, which whilst they've been severely degraded, are not destroyed yet, as well as Hezbollah and most notably Iran, are determined to continue to wage war against Israel. They're determined to destroy the state of Israel. The big concern must be coming out of this war is that Iran will move quickly to acquire nuclear weapons because it will feel increasingly threatened by Trump. So you could see effectively a new round of instability emerge in 2025 in the Middle East, centered around Iranian efforts to acquire nuclear weapons that could lead to further conflict in the region. So whilst this particular conflict may be coming to an end, this does not lead to a general peaceful, stable situation in the Middle East.
Dr. Davis, appreciate your time coming on the program and your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.